some of those throws, I know you talk about Will progressing from one year to the next. Are you starting to see that really come alive on Saturday?
He really, honestly, he made some amazing throws again on Saturday. Really, just the talent just jumps out at you. Just the way, he when he gets moved off his spot and still have the awareness and the arm talent, and just the way he throws some of them, just really, really talented thrower, and made some amazing plays that kind of go unnoticed, in a game like that.
What's the next step for him? What do you want to see now from him?
Well, I think it's not just him. I mean, and I'm not bailing him out, but on the interceptions and some of that, we need to play better around him. And some guys need to step up and play more precisely. And so I think him holding the young wideouts accountable, all the little things, and continue to grow and because it only takes one guy. You've heard the frustration of me talking about a guy here, a guy there. Well, that's all it takes. You need everybody on the same page. That's why this is the ultimate team sport. I mean, you have to have everybody on the same page or it's not going to work. And so I think there's a lot of little things. He threw one off balance without his footwork being correct, but it was also a bad route. So there was a combination of things on that. So we'll continue to grow.
Are you happy with how you've gotten the tight end involved in the offense through 3 weeks?
Sure. I mean, I think there's some good things they're doing, but again, I think they're too inconsistent as well. I think they could be a really strong point for us, and I don't think they're as strong at the point of attack as they can be as well in the run game, and they could help us and do more. As a group, they've done some good things, but just like most of our team, we could be better.
Mark, Octavius Oxendine obviously remade his body. Is that paying off in terms of more dynamic pass rushing? Has he given up anything in run defense?
No, run defense, we've been pretty stout. So I think he's playing really good, and it's a matter of maintaining that through this season as he get more and more wear and tear, and continue to be able to play at a high level. We're able to rotate some guys, which helps. But he is quicker and playing more explosive.
It seems like it's Will Saunders, who I don't recall being a highly recruited guy. He's played pretty well.
Yeah, Khalil's one of those guys that has some length, and you've heard me talk about before, like with Phil Hoskins, the guys with that kind of length and can play looser and have some quick twitch, along with a big, longer body that kind of helps us.
What does it say about your defense that they didn't convert any third or fourth downs? You haven't really given up any long drives, but you've done it without sacks, tackles for loss. Yeah,
I mean, part of that is, we need to get home, but part of it is they're getting the ball out too, and being creative and not just sitting back there. So, the sacks, the tackles for loss, turnovers will come if we continue to play at a really high level, and they're playing pretty strong right now. You take out, the one go ball, which was a technique issue, and you add the penalty on top of that, and then the screen. It's a pretty darn complete game.
Mark Carrington made two big plays that directly took away touchdowns. He got kind of thrown into the fire as a young player. Could you describe his development and what he's done?
Yeah, he has really taken a step this year. You've heard me talk about preseason. I felt like he was. I was confident, as he should, just with progressing. Felt like he's stronger. He's playing much stronger as well. He's winning those competitive matchups, and he's winning his fair share. And if he gets beat, like Saturday, he came right back and made a huge play. That's his competitive nature. So I really like the way he's, stepping up and competing right now.
Is there an update on Tom's play?
As I mentioned last week, he was week to week. So he was out there a bit last week of practice. Wasn't quite going to be effective enough. So we'll see how it goes this week.
As an old defensive backs coach, how pleased are you, especially with the injuries you've had back there? If I'm not mistaken, you're one of only two teams in the entire country that's not given up a passing touchdown yet.
Yeah, they're playing good as a unit, but the defense in general is playing good. And as I mentioned, the guy here, guy there, maybe offensively or even defensively this year during the year, when you get, it only takes one person messing up, to get us thrown off, and those could be little things that you don't really always see, whether it's rush lanes or contain and just you got to play good as a group and be very unselfish. And I think they're playing good on the back end, but it's really the whole structure that's been successful.
After watching the film, this is the first game that we've seen Jordan Love in a starting role. We got a lot of time in Florida. What did you see out of him? What did you like from this game?
Yeah, Jordan again is very. He's getting better with every opportunity, getting more confident, getting a good feel for the game. He's one of those guys you could see him just playing faster with the snaps under his belt, and very athletic young man, and I think got a really bright future.
Mark, you're acting like a pile of thoughts about being named the honorary coach of the team.
Well, it is an honor to be the honorary coach of the Good Works team. I always just try to do my part, put my head down and go to work, and there's enough to do to keep me extremely busy, but I also like giving back, and I've attached myself to the UK Children's Hospital really since day one, and it's an honor for us to be a part of that and to help in any way we can. Really since the first day we've been here, and my staff has really chipped in and done an awful lot as well. And as I mentioned at the one of the functions we have every year, it just takes any of us to have our child be sick and spend any time over there, and you can see why it's pretty easy to attach yourself at the Children's Hospital.
Speaking as a veteran who's been laid up over here at VA, are there any thoughts about you and the players going over to the VA here during the Veterans Day to
Sure.
get the spirits of those?
Yeah, I think it would be a great idea, and our players give back a lot and do a lot as well, but that's certainly something that you can also attach yourself to.
Is that kind of charity work something you had envisioned when you first became a head coach? Is that something you had kind of looked forward to doing all along?
Well, you always try to do what you can and always have. I think when you're in a position like that, it's you should, give back and try. It's very hard to get spread very thin, and that's something that I've mentioned, I've been honest about. I mean, it's hard, it's hard finding balance in these positions, especially, it is what it is. I sit there and cry about it, you know what I mean? It's just, it's a lot to do.
Mark, we heard your review of the film, but even more important, what was Mom's
Yeah.
look at the game?
Well, the tight end's caught a few passes, so she was, no, Mom, she was, it was really good to have her here. Not sure how many football games she'll be able to attend anymore, so that may be her last one, don't worry, she'll be glued to her couch watching them all, but she'll be tuned in, but maybe the last one in person. It was great to have the whole family here.
Mark, when we talked to Kedron after the Florida game, he said he wouldn't have come here if he didn't think you all could be really special. What was your pitch to him as a guy who had played so much in the SEC already, what you could do to take him to?
Well, I don't know the pitch, but for him, it's a matter of showing him the film, showing him what we do. With the older guys, it's about, exactly showing him what role we think he could play within our system. Because they're done with the, coming out of high school and, all the fancy stuff. Generally the transfers are really looking at where do I fit into their system and how are they going to use me. And those kind of guys are enjoyable to recruit, because for us it's just a matter of showing them the film, showing them what we've done to help other guys reach their goals and be successful in this league and be successful at the next level.
Did it help with them that you already had Jacques and they had that relationship?
Yeah, it did help. Yeah.
On the other side of that, as a coach, you could have players leave too at the end of the year and have had players leave. Does that go into your thinking at all during this season? Hey, we need to give this guy a shot because he might go someplace else, or is that something you can't worry about during the year? You just worry about after the season's over?
No, I think that's fair to say that, because as I mentioned to the coaches, sometimes we spend years recruiting these guys, and they're really good players, and you also have to, really take time with the players and help them understand that a lot of these guys are going to be very successful. And if they're not successful right now, then let's talk about it, address it, and see where they need to improve, and really help them improve. Because you get caught up as coordinators and position coaches, you get caught up with the game plan. We get caught up with winning, which is ultimately most important. But we can't forget about development and bringing those guys along. And I think a guy like DeKell is a great example of that. As I told DeKell last couple of weeks, like you can be one of the a great player here. It's just a matter of when, and continuing to stay positive and work extremely hard so when they get that opportunity, how are they going to play? And you've heard me mention in here many times, it's not just a matter of how they play, but how do we function as an offensive, defense, or special teams when they're in the game as well? Are they doing all the little things? And that's where we didn't do a very good job this past week as a group, like the wideouts. Yeah, you're going to see the stat sheet and say, wow, they caught a lot of passes, but they did not play to our standard, and they need to improve, and they need to do the little things right, and they need to block, they need to get lined up, they need to execute, and we didn't do to a high enough standard this week.
On that recruiting note, how big of an asset is it, both with the transfers and high school prospects, to show them the NFL tape of guys not only getting there but succeeding like they did this week with Mike?
Yeah, I think it's very important. I mean, we're just so proud of the guys in the NFL, but for us, to show them the history and the way we develop players and put them in a system that they could be successful in is helpful.
Mark, on that wide receiver.
This is late in the game, and I guess considering that, but looking at what Keontae Logan did on film when he locked up on the guy and just pancaked him and stayed on the block pancaked him. I mean, what do you take from that as far as him as an offensive line and his development?
Yeah, I mean that was a good play. It was the last play of the game, I believe you're speaking of. There's things that he can do very well, and that was right at the point of attack, front side. And then there's things that go into being a complete offensive lineman. And he'll be fine. He just needs to continue to work and grow and develop, as I just mentioned. But one play is far from a finished product. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the receiver blocking you mentioned, how big everybody wants to brag on the offensive line, but how has that been? Do you feel, is that something y'all need to keep?
Yeah, I mean, there's one play with a missed assignment. It goes for a -4 yards, and everybody's going to say it's on the offensive line. When we have it all sealed up if we do what we're supposed to do. It's probably a 20-yard gain instead it's 4-yard loss, but that's not on the offensive line. That's on a wide receiver completely whiffing.
Is it easier or harder to teach that young receivers when they're catching a bunch of passes to take?
Oh, they're gonna learn, or they won't be catching passes. Yeah.
We saw Jeremy Flax miss some time in the middle of the game, and you brought in David on the right side earlier, you'd be on the left. How do you think he played those snaps that he got?
Yeah, he's going to continue to develop and be a good player. Yeah, we still have confidence in David. Like I mentioned earlier, you put him on the left early of need, and it was hard for him, but he's going to play well and continue to be a good player for us.
How do you feel like Horsley's playing there?
I'm not going to put it all on him, but not as good as we need to in this game. Comes out in the Florida game, that whole left side. We bragged on the left side and with him and Jagger and after that game, and we didn't play to our standard this week on that side.